New World Order is really all intertwined in the New Age movement. So New Order is a new age. I mean, that's just a given. So what I saw when I really looked at this was I see the representation of this supposedly neutral image, which is of course Obama. The fact that he is biracial, and it sort of seemed as if he carries the a little bit of everything for everybody. What did they call him? The first global president.
Right, right.
He represents, maybe not necessarily consciously, let me make that clear, but what he symbolizes the new age. Obviously, you have somebody of color that's never been in the office before. That's part of a new age, a new movement. And in order to assist in moving the masses into a certain way of thinking, you would have to have someone that appears neutral, somebody that has an appearance, that can relate to a mass amount of people. And this is global. This isn't just the United States. It's a global presence. So he represents transition on a couple of levels, I would say. On the level as far as the governmental structure is concerned and all of that, and the control and all of that, but it also represents an opportunity for us as individuals to think about owning ourselves and not continuing to look to an individual or government to save us and to be our security. So there's a lot of things going on here. If we were to go back and start looking at some of the information with the New Age movement, it could be a little bit scary. I mean, it really, really could, when you look as to how far back this really started. Now, the whole concept of a new world order, that is not new.
No.
That is something that's been understood for a long time. However, the plans for hundreds of years, however far back, thousands, whatever, this age, it was known of that this age would come. And that's why you have it tied into the whole concept, the whole idea of the Aquarian age, which I never really got into, but I know it's all part of that whole transition.
Sonia, sorry to interrupt there, but would you say that that's because this is a new age, because this is connected with the Aquarian age? Is that the reason, you think, why they're spearheading this at this point in time?
That's all part of it, but that's all part of it. What we want to look at is, yes, somehow all of it seems to lead up around the time 2012. What we want to look at is the fact that as far as the cycles are concerned, these are actual cycles I'm talking about. Again, this 104,000 year cycle, and the whole process of it being broken down, we're dealing with a great cycle. So you've got this 104,000 year cycle that which is we're in the fourth part of 104,000 year cycle, meaning that there were 26,000 year cycles, whereabouts, somewhere in that number. So you've got 4 of these cycles that our system goes through. And so we're in this very last phase of that 4th cycle, where everything cosmologically is changing, as far as the planet, the movement of the planet, everything is occurring. That is a natural part of the process for any planet, any system to go through. They have tied in that change that they're talking about with this transition, because yes, it is a natural part of the process for life form in any system to go through various levels of evolution, various levels of stepping it up. So yes, there's an opportunity there in this transition that's going on as the planet itself changes, that yes, the consciousness, because we're tied into the planet, and the planet is obviously tied into the sun and everything associated that we have no knowledge of and cannot see. It's all tied into that. So whatever those transitions are, we are experiencing. We're like the echo, the bottom of the echo of all of that that's going on, but it's all tied together. So the Aquarian age, all of those things are tied into a natural transition that's going on. In that, though, you have different occults, different religious beliefs that a Messiah or some sort of transition in that manner is going to take place. So this whole thing now ties into this changeover that's supposed to happen. Everybody is looking for some sort of Messiah to come. I don't care what religious group you deal with. There's some being that is supposed to come to take over or to rescue. And some of these occults, or some of these what do you want to call it, groups, when we see mass amounts of people being wiped off the planet, we've got to understand that when we say how could people do this, we have to understand that when it is someone's belief that this is supposed to be part of the process, whatever the cleansing is, the eugenics process, whatever that whole cleansing process is supposed to be, there isn't a sense of feeling bad for it. Just like you believe in whatever you believe in religiously, it's all part of a belief structure. So therefore, for those individuals, it makes it okay.
Yes.
So again, what we're dealing with a much larger transition in place. And it's not that the players that you see before you are even aware to the extent that we would want to think that they're aware. It's not that they're necessarily aware of the level or the depth of this transition taking place. Now, we've got to remember that all of those that govern are all tied in together, because you've got the governmental structure, and the government, and you've got the corporations, and then you've got the religious structure, and these three operate or spiritual beliefs, so however you want to term it, they somehow find a way to be intermingled, probably not on the lowest level that you will see,
right,
but as the levels go up, you find that they are all tied together, and there's an orchestration. There's a group. It's always a very small, as they say, the road narrows. That is working towards a particular outcome. And the process, what we're seeing is the process. We're seeing the process taking place. You had who was it? George Bush, the father in office, and we thought it was a very intense time, and then we realized it really wasn't that intense because of what we're experiencing right now. That time was considered a little intense, and then we had Bill Clinton come in, and that again tapered people a little bit. We got more relaxed, more hypnotized. A lot of things happened, but we didn't see it. We couldn't see it happening because everybody was being sort of, stroked and caressed. Yes, so we didn't see any of that. And so everybody was happy. Well, what better time? But how can you, if you have to hammer something, you can't hammer quietly. So now you've done all the quiet stuff that you can do. Now you've got to hammer. You can't do it without people noticing, and that's what we got done. We've been experiencing for the last 8 years is the hammering process, because you got to hammer in order to prepare for whatever the next level is. So now we're going to see at some point a calmer, to some degree, phase from what we had experienced. At least we're going to think we're seeing a calmer phase, a much calmer phase. So it's going to be perception. It's going to be what the projection is. It's an opportunity for lots of technology to be stepped up in terms of, what people's minds or thought process can be directed towards. So there's lots going on in that department in terms of what we're going to see.
Yes.
A lot of people are very happy right now. With that happiness, that makes it a lot easier to slip in a lot of different things with all of that, where you don't even realize how bad it is because, you know, you're being hypnotized once again.
Yes.
So we've got this, you know, these promises, and again, we have a Messiah